Hello, my name's Tim.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we are the
Shitty Movie Reviewers.
Alright, today we watched the motion picture Love Object, which came out in the year 2003 and stars Desmond Harrington as Kenneth and Melissa Sage Miller as Lisa.
It's a beautiful, beautiful love story about like a very complicated love triangle.
Yep. So we got Ken. He's an office worker, and he's kind of on the shy side. And then one day, some guys introduce him to a postcard that has a picture of a sex doll on it, and he says, "Hey,
and
let's
he
go for it."
becomes intrigued.
And he goes for it and buys it.
Even though he does not have the money to do this.
He doesn't.
It is $10,000 for one of these babies.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, it is not, from the product that they send to him, I don't think it's worth $10,000.
No,
maybe in 2003 it was worth $10,000.
It looked like a styrofoam.
It looked like a styrofoam doll with seams up and down the side of it. But anyway, so it's a love story about him and this doll.
Him and his doll, and he becomes obsessed kind of with a new temporary worker, and then he kind of...
Lisa. Yes. Yeah, he models his doll after her because...
At the beginning, yes.
Because even though he's not speaking to her, and he's, kind of icing her out, and everybody at work is treating her like shit.
Yeah, and it's just because she's the temp.
Yes, we later find out it's because she's a temp, which I don't understand.
And let's point out that Melissa Sage Miller plays Lisa, but Lisa is definitely a very pretty blonde woman. Yeah,
this whole scenario makes no sense. No, it really makes no sense.
None of the men hit on her, and all of the women just shun her.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
I mean, if we're being serious, like, if you're a hot blonde girl, women shunning you is not new.
No, but the men not
hitting on her. But the men not
is...
hitting on her, not being nice to her, just come.
Alright, so Rebecca, why did you like this movie?
Why did I like the movie? I like the movie because... well, one, I saw it a long time ago when I really liked all movies that I saw.
Back in 2003.
Back in 2003, I really loved every single movie that I saw. So I'm like, watching it back, I still love the movie, but it's for different reasons now, I think.
No, I definitely liked it when it first came out. I obviously bought it. But I don't know, the reason why I like it is because it deals with freaky situations.
Yeah, he's like a real depraved character, which kind of makes it interesting to watch. You see is like, I want to call it like a slow descent into madness, but like I feel the fact that he was like immediately interested in this thing.
Yeah, he became quickly enamored with it, and then...
Yeah.
But at the same time, it also helped him come out of his shell.
Yeah. He did. Having a relationship with this doll made him like really nice to actual Lisa.
Yeah, so
he named his doll Nikki, by the way. The doll's name isn't Lisa. Nikki is the name of the doll, which is kind of important, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, because you gotta... Yeah. But yeah, so he gets the doll and he becomes totally enamored with her. And then all of a sudden now, dull, lifeless Ken is now super happy, having a blast at work.
Doing so good.
Right?
He's getting a promotion. She gets hired on full time because his relationship with this doll has made him just so much more alive at work. So they're both moving up in the world. Getting shit done. They're basically a power couple, but we don't know that they're actually a power throuple.
And then the very awkward way of meeting all his neighbors too. We should mention his neighbor.
Oh yeah. So when he gets this doll delivered to him, every single one of his neighbors happens to be in the.
And his neighbors is played by Udo Kier.
Oh my god, he's amazing.
Who's been around forever. Starting around with the, what's his name? Frankenstein movie of Andy
plays
Warhol
a really good
movies.
nosy neighbor.
He's awesome.
I believe him as that character.
Yep. But so he's out there nosing around watching this gigantic box being delivered that looks roughly the size of a coffin.
And then that's when they also introduce the douchebag cop neighbor and his girlfriend.
Yeah, he plays,
he is a terrible piece of shit.
He plays
and we learn that later.
Cop, man.
Yeah, he's definitely like a manly, like a purebred,
Yep.
Yep. he hates the landlord neighbor because I have a sneaking suspicion it's because he has an accent.
Probably.
He's like, that neighbor's real weird. I don't like the cut of his jib.
And so when he finally actually gets the stupid doll inside, and when he gets intimate with it, what does he do? He just throws it right onto the floor.
Oh yeah, he's like, thanks for the lovin's baby, and then just like tosses her aside, and then immediately tries to return her to the company.
Yep, and they shoot him down because obviously it's used.
You're like, well, yeah, you can't return a used sex doll. It doesn't work like that. It's not like a sample. You paid $10,000 for the dang thing.
And then and as he's packing it up, that's when he discovers the instructional DVD for it. And then he follows it.
And he loves instructions. That's why he works at this manual company. He's a real stickler for instructions.
Yep. And the actual DVD instructional video for the Love Doll actually makes him a better person for dating Lisa in real life.
Yep, he starts to learn to appreciate her interests.
Yep.
And incorporate them into his doll's life. And then he finds out that she buys all of her clothes from thrift stores. And she's like, if I ever get a real job, I'm going to buy all new clothes. So what does he do? He goes and buys all new clothes for Nikki.
Very expensive, like from boutiques.
Yes.
Like, everything that Lisa really wishes for, he buys for Nikki. Essentially, he's making Nikki a better person than Lisa.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, he wants Nikki to have everything that she wants.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, so he's becoming all friendly with her at work now.
Yep.
And then, and then at this time also...
He also gets her hair done exactly like the doll, too.
A hairdo. Yeah, and then he also, at this point, he creates that freaking pulley system to move the doll around the apartment so he can dance with it.
Oh, yeah. He has, like, this whole, like, fantasy of him dancing with Lisa.
Because he saw her
it's
CD
Lisa
collection.
Nikki. We're going to call it Sex Doll Lisa, but she's a real Lisa in his fantasy. And they're dancing around.
Yep, learning the waltz.
But as soon as he takes real Lisa shopping for the clothes and gets her hair done... Guess what? Sex Doll Lisa gets real pissed about it.
Yep, she starts getting angry.
Yeah, she's like...
Now, of course, no one else can see her getting angry.
Yeah, he walks in and her hair's all crazy, which alludes to the fact that she's been sitting there in the dark, extra pissed that he went on a shopping spree with another woman.
Yep.
So... So he wakes up, he goes to sleep after finding her pissed off at him, and he wakes up and and Sex Doll Lisa has a knife in her hand and has cut up all of his magazines.
Yeah, and all the pictures of Lisa on all the manuals they were working on.
Yep, she has cut his shit up. She's pissed. She's holding the knife and she's not playing around.
Yeah, and then he's also, now at this point, he's also starting to slip up at work.
Yeah, and he's starting to hallucinate that he's being followed by Nikki.
Oh yeah, she's following him in the parking structure at work.
Yep, she's really getting in his head, that Nikki. She's a bad lady.
Yep. and he pretty much just goes along with it. He pretty much is kind of a bitch. He's kind of...
And then he tries to break up with the doll. Yeah. He's like, once it gets too much, he's like, you know what, maybe we should, reconsider this relationship. And also, maybe we should start seeing other people.
And that's when the doll starts beating the living shit out of him.
So Lisa knows immediately that it's work Lisa that's getting in between their relationship, and she decides to take control.
Yep.
She's got him tied up. He's trying to call the company to see what's defective about this doll because she keeps telling him to do crazy shit.
And he also has to sneak away from her in the middle of the night to go... Not in the middle of the night, but when... That was another way, because he's sneaking away from her, but it was in the middle of the day, remember? Remember, he goes and visits Lisa at work.
He goes and visits real Lisa at work and brings her delicious Chinese
But he has to undo the chain that he's attached to, because...
Well, maybe Nikki, she's taking, like a really long sex nap, She's like, I'm done brutalizing you. Time for bed.
and so, again, too, now that Lisa is full-time, the guys start to notice her. The ladies are talking to her at work. She's blending in. And
Yep.
so Ken,
She's like really moving up in the world. She's doing better than him. She's writing shit without him.
but Ken asks her out, and she says yes.
Yep.
And that begins a whole nother set of problems.
Yep. I mean, they really start getting along and stuff, but then he sees like random things that he wouldn't necessarily choose for her, like the fact that she has a filthy tongue ring and a
And
guardian angel tattoo on her titty.
right on her booty. And that's
She's like, oh, it's my guardian angel.
Ken doesn't really like that at all.
He's not into it.
Nope.
And you know
Not at
what? He
all.
can go fuck himself on that one. Anyway,
And
but he's
then-
starting to realize that Nikki's really the one.
Yep.
Nikki's really the one.
Yeah, because it's also during this time that they also have sex for the first time.
Yep.
Lisa. And apparently,
And he's having like PTSD flashbacks of when the sex doll was beating the shit out of him.
yep, and somebody
In
has a
his
little, his little staff does not work all the way, and it becomes a very awkward.
Disappointment for
Erectile
everyone.
dysfunction moment.
Poor guy.
But of course, they act like it's the end of the world.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, apparently that's just like completely not normal.
Right? No, that never happened.
I've never, ever, ever, ever met a man who
But
had.
the only thing I can think is because it's their first time. I guess that would affect it. But
Yeah, but no, he's having like all sorts of flashbacks
Yeah.
during it, so it's because he can't get Nikki off the brain. He's got Nikki on the brain.
Yep, so he goes home, and that's when he reverses things, and he starts beating up the doll.
Yeah, and the nosy neighbors, like listening to all of that shit.
Yep, and he actually dismembers a doll with a power tool.
And it really sounds like he's beating up a real person in there and dismembering their body.
And then he
And the
blasts
neighbor
music to
doesn't do shit. He calls the guy who he's hearing.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I thought I was hearing a person get beat up and dismembered.
And then he even sees him carrying the body parts. I mean, we know it's not a real body, but
He sees him carrying out like limbs and stuff wrapped up in
constantly
garbage bags.
dropping the head all the way down the hallway.
Yeah.
And he still doesn't call the police. He's just,
No. And there's several times where he sees or hears something really fucked up and does not call the police immediately. It's really weird.
Yeah. And so he dumps the body in the dumpster because nobody can find a broken up mannequin.
Yeah. So.
And then immediately he goes and starts making things up with Lisa.
Yes.
Explaining, this is when he tells Lisa that Nikki is actually his ex-girlfriend and she was a stalker.
Yes. He like explains to her. He's trying to get her to accept his apology for his softiosis.
Yep.
But the thing is that like I just don't understand why you would need to apologize for that. It's like
It would
a
be more like
natural thing to happen to
you would
somebody's
probably-
body.
if it was me, it would be more like of a joke thing. Oh well, last
Like-
night sucked, huh?
Like remember
Let's try again.
when I'm like it's so weird to me that's been such a big deal. But whatever.
Yeah, because especially when they first show it too, like she opens up the door and she's like, "Why are you here?"
It's like I thought we broke up because you had a soft
Yeah,
penis
because
when
that-
we were trying to do
that
it.
one time that we had sex.
I feel rejected by you and I can't see you anymore.
Totally devastated. But when she explains that he had a stalker ex-girlfriend,
She's like, okay, well now I love you.
yep, everything's good. Everything is good. So they're dating. Everything is perfect. Work is finding out awesome. And then they're at work, working on a new catalog, whatever.
Yep, she's flipping through the old one and she finds the little postcard in there of Nikki.
Yep, the original. And she's like,
At first she thinks it's a real person.
This is a postcard of your ex-girlfriend. And then she turns it over and finds out it's from...
She finds out it's a sex doll and she's like, you wanted me to be like a fucking sex doll, you perv?
Yep.
And then she reports his ass.
She does.
And he gets a demerit and barred from seeing her
Yep.
or working with her at work.
Yep. Doesn't get fired. Gets the demerit from work. They can't see each other.
Yep, so what does he do? He tries to order another doll.
You gotta get a new doll.
But he's too poor.
Yep.
Again, he's too poor to buy. He didn't even have money to buy the first one.
Yeah, he still hasn't paid for the other one yet.
And he's getting like constant calls about that.
Yep. And then he even goes to look for the old doll in the trash, even though it's like a week later.
Right. He's like, well, maybe those body parts I dismembered badly.
Right.
I can just tape them back together and it'll be like regular old Nikki. That would work. But alas, she was not in the garbage can.
Yep, she's gone. So now, of course, this is making him suffer at work. She's pretty much doing his job.
Yep, and he gets fired.
He gets canned.
Yep. Well, that's what happens when you got sex dolls on the brain.
Right.
But so anyway, he gets fired from work, and then he waits for her because he needs to talk to her real bad.
Yep.
So
and instead of just talking to her,
he fucking attacks her and takes her to his place. He kidnaps her.
Takes her home, ties her up.
And is doing all sorts of weird shit to her. And the neighbor, again,
Does
listening
not call 911
to this, doesn't call 911. He calls the douchebag neighbor cop. And then even the neighbor cop is like, if it's an emergency, call 911.
He's literally telling him what to do, but he still doesn't
And
do
the
it.
neighbor's like, no, you know what I should do? I should go over there and break into the apartment.
Go into my tenant's apartment and just walk right on it.
Waltz in.
Which, of course, is a bad idea, number one.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Or bad idea number two.
Well, I mean, right, it was like the neighbor had no ideas. He was just like... he was just playing it fast and loose with this one.
Right. And we also see, we didn't really mention this, that the whole, I don't know if we mentioned or not, while he's doing all this to Lisa, the phone's ringing. I don't know if we mentioned the phone calls.
He keeps getting phone calls from Nikki telling him exactly what she wants him to do.
Like, because this is when, because
when the neighbor goes in there, Nikki calls and tells him to, at this point, he's attacked his neighbor with a hammer after he finds Lisa and tries to set her free. So, they're about to run away. Ken bashes him in the head with a fucking hammer. And then Nikki calls and tells him to do the deed.
Yep, and Rebecca's favorite part of the movie. Udo Kier gets dismembered in the bathtub.
Oh my god, so bad. And when I first saw this movie, that part was traumatizing to me. Because I had never, I think I might have been real sheltered when it came to movies. I'd never seen somebody getting cut up while they were alive with a friggin' hacksaw.
Well, that's too. Plus, just the look on his face the whole time because he's alive, because they don't really show him.
They don't show him getting dismembered. It's just his face, jiggling up and down with blood, pouring out of his mouth.
It wasn't like his death scene in Blade where the sun just kind of eats him alive.
Oh, Jesus. That guy gets killed in a lot of random ways,
killed in a lot of ways. Alright, so now he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. He's dead now, and Lisa is pretty much fucked at this point.
Yeah, she's
getting trapped. He's putting her in the box. He's putting the plastic lid over her, and then covering her with wood.
He's going to work like normal while she's
tied up in the box with a freaking ball gag in her mouth.
And another thing we never mentioned is the plot point is the broken strap in the love box. That's actually a big point.
What? There's a broken strap. She breaks the strap.
No, it's broken right away. As soon as he opens it, remember the hand hits him in the face? And that keeps coming back. Oh. Because that's how she gets out of
I didn't remember.
And then when she puts him in it, that's how he gets out as well.
Yeah.
So the broken strap
I didn't remember that one. But I do want to mention the fact that there's also a running theme in the movie about so all these perverts have weird skin lesions.
Yeah.
When he's in the porn store looking at porn,
there's an elephant man looking guy.
His whole face is like a bubbled up mess. Yeah. And then the guy who delivers him his sex doll has this weird lesions all over his hand. And then later on we see that what is his name? Kenneth himself cuts himself with his razor, and then his turns into big old lesions all over his face. Yep, so that's also a recurring theme throughout the film.
Yep. And so as Lisa's in here, we find out what he really intends to do with her, and he's decided to keep Lisa forever.
Yes, and turn her into a sex doll and give her body to Nikki.
Yep.
Which is
so you plans to embalm her.
Yep, he starts, he jabs her with a big old giant needle and starts bleeding her out.
Yep.
And then he starts going to embalm her, and that's when she breaks free and is starting to figure out how to get out of there.
Right.
She hits him over the head with this broken angel, and then she has a really terrible plan. Like,
Yeah,
I get it, but, like, I don't get it, because if I'm the victim, I'm not gonna fucking throw the dude into the box and tie him up and start
But
torturing
then
him.
she's gonna kill him anyway. She was gonna stab him.
Yeah, she was gonna stab him.
So yeah, so she has the perfect opportunity. He's like, his body is like over the coffin, whatever.
Yeah,
you
and
call
she
it.
has an opportunity to bash him in
his
the
skull
head,
and
and that would have been, like,
yeah,
enough
instead-
evidence to prove that he was...
Yeah, so it makes it, it made it almost seem like she was gonna call the police and have him arrested, but no. Then all of a sudden she straddles
She
him,
starts to stab him with the big
Starts
old
to stab
needles,
him.
which I get, but I don't get. Yeah.
and actually we didn't even mention why the police are there in the first place.
Oh yeah, so they find the neighbor's body in the dumpster downstairs, and the douchebag neighbor's like, guess who will get a kick out of this? I'm gonna call my good buddy refrigerator guy, and tell him about our dead neighbor. What a douchebag.
Yep.
So he calls, and they're about to go over there to... I don't know why they bust into his apartment, actually.
No,
I don't feel like
there's
they
no
ever
real
explain
reason
it.
to. No, because remember she sent that.
She sent the file, and then they called the cops on...
Then they called the cops, and then... But I don't know why that call was directly given to his neighbor.
Yeah.
That was kind of
It's a bunch of hooey is what it is, but whatever.
Convenience plot point. But yep, so the police bust in right as she's about to stab him and blows her away.
He unloads his entire clip into her chest. He shoots her like something like 15 times.
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
like total over the top.
I'm like, he's like going to town on this lady. He's like, but I mean, no, I don't understand him shooting her that many times. I guess it's just to show that he's a dipshit at his job
Wanted
too.
to make sure she was
He's
dead.
bad at his job too.
Right. But yep, so then we see and then what happens? He gets
he
more
gets a
praise at work.
promotion again. I mean, I don't think he gets a promotion, but he gets his bonus.
He gets his bonus.
He gets
that he was
praised,
promised.
and he just flips the script on Lisa and
and
makes
now-
it look like she's the freak that was doing that to him.
And now that he's got the bonus, he can buy another
He
doll.
can buy a new doll, which he does promptly.
Which he does. and then as he's buying his doll some roses, what happens?
Oh, he meets a what a lovely ending. He meets a new girl to fantasize about. The flower shop girl never knows what's gonna hit her. She don't know.
No, but it ends with him fantasizing.
Yep,
and it
he
just
floats
goes
off into his white little fantasy
And
land.
it's a beautiful movie. It's a story of a guy who just wants his girl, and he meets her.
Yeah.
A beautiful ending.
It's like the dark version of Lars and the Real Girl. I'm like, where it doesn't have a happy ending. Is that an airplane?
Rain.
Oh, it's raining, folks.
Yep. Alright, so Rebecca, would you recommend this movie?
I would recommend this movie. Like, as freaky and upsetting as the ending is.
Right.
I would recommend it if you like movies where the bad guy wins.
So would I.
It doesn't sit well, but it's worth the view. It's worth the watch.
Right.
Recommend.
Recommend me as well. Alright, so that was me and Rebecca, the Shitty Movie Reviewers, doing Love Object.
Thank you very much for listening, and
Until next time,
thank you.
goodbye.
Goodbye.